here's the video review for DX9's HULKIE, their set of Constructicons Heavy Industry. Now they have, this is X07 through X12, following the number of the rest of DX9's micro figure series. And I've seen a couple of different numbering systems for them. Like one picture I saw showed that long haul or carrier was X07, and then I've seen another one that says that hook was X07. So I'm not entirely sure which number goes to which, but they do have numbers. They're X07 through X12, and I've seen names for digger, crusher, hoister, and carrier. And this is probably mixer and shoveler. They all have kind of generic names for what they do as part of the team here. So you get the 6 figures themselves, the rifle for the combined mode, and then you get a little sprue with a little piece with individual guns for them, as well as one individual purple gun, which you can give to whoever. I thought maybe it plugged into HULKIE's head, but I haven't found a way to do that yet. But you can pull them all out, and what's cool is once you give all the pistols to the robots, and again, they may have specific pistols. Some of them in several pictures all had the same pistol. Some of them had different ones. So again, they may each have a specific weapon. I'm not 100% sure yet which one goes specifically to which character. But ultimately, they all have a gun. Let's go ahead and give them all some pistols here. Weapon them up. Some of these are hard to get into the fists. Okay, well, maybe we won't give you that one. Maybe we'll give you this one. Oh, come on, long haul. Here, maybe long haul gets the purple one. There you go. But yeah, so you have enough to give everyone a pistol, and then have one left over no matter how you spread them out. And then once that's done, and combined with, this kind of looks like a steel beam for HULKIE to hold. One of the pictures I think had it kind of melted and bent. This is one solid piece, it doesn't bend. But you can give them a girder to smash some people with, which is cool. Now I'm doing these all I'm going to go from robot to vehicle to combined mode, because I think that's the easiest way to do it efficiently. But they're all pretty cool. Scavenger and Bone Crusher look a little stumpy. Bone Crusher especially has a little bit of a stumpy look to him, just because he's got like a big head in relation to the rest of him. But and Scavenger actually looks okay. You can, if you want to make him a little taller, you can use the hinge down here and extend his legs a little bit to make him a little taller figure. Although it does look a little bit more awkward with the lower hips. But they've all got decent articulation. They generally have, like, the heads are all generally fixed in place with the exception of long haul. But they have ball jointed shoulders, ball joint elbows. I don't think any of them have a waist swivel. Now that they're all fixed at the waist. But them ball joint hips, hinge knees, some of them have posable feet. Like I said, Scavenger and Bone Crusher have very similar legs. Does Long Haul have? Okay, I think they're the only ones with posable feet. Are these two with ankle hinges? But all in all, they retain the same level of articulation that most of the DX9 little minifigures do. You can get them in some decent poses. How they compare with other DX9 figures? Well, I'll show you. Get him to stand again. He's got some weird feet going on. Here they are with Gartnell, their Ironhide, who's kind of off to the side here. With Tempest, their version of Cyclonus. I think it was Tempest was his name. Galvatron. Kind of put him back here. Scourge, put him. And Speedo, their Blur. So they fit in size-wise roughly with previous DX9 releases. And just because I have them here they are with Iron Factory's Magnus and Evil Lord, City Commander and Evil Lord. So they're a little smaller than Iron Factory's larger figures, but I think they still scale pretty well with these guys. Well, maybe, at least Magnus, maybe not so much Overlord if you go by him as being a giant base guy. Turn them into vehicles. We'll go ahead and get the guns out. The devastation, they're all dying. No, anyway. So anyway, to turn him into vehicle for long haul here, you bring his arms back and slide them forward and up around like this. Fold his head back. See, his head is like the one posable head. It's on a ball joint here. But you turn it around and flip it down. Flip his arms back up and around like this. Again, slide the hinge out, rotate it back. And then once you get it like this, slide it forward again. Comes together like that. Spread his legs. Flip this piece up and back. His entire torso, and this is why he doesn't have a waist swivel in combined mode, because this entire torso, there's no really room to stick a waist swivel in there because his entire torso kind of elongates out for vehicle mode. So you unhinge this and flip it straight back. Flip up the wheels, and then fold up these pieces here into the gap, just like that. And they also peg together, so just a matter of getting everything straightened. Line that up, peg it together. And then once that's done, these panels inside here flip up to form the kind of front, what I'm looking for, the front shelf of the dump truck mixer. And then the this piece right here just kind of folds up onto the back. So you can kind of fold it up under too. Onto the back of the truck. How did I do this before? I did this before in a way that worked. Maybe just fold it up like this. So there he is in dump truck mode. Also, the fists on this, you can leave them in for a perfect transformation if you want to have the whole combiner together. The fists do come off. You just pop them out of the peg, and that will allow you to fold this all the way back up onto the back if you don't like it back there. I've also seen some pictures where like this is rotated around like this and have the fist sticking up behind the head, which you can do, but it's just a matter of rotating it right there at the shoulder joint, turning the fist around, and you can kind of fold that up onto the back for the arms. So the fist is still there. It doesn't really, I mean, even if you turn it around, it doesn't really, you can kind of open it up and maybe get it a little flatter on the back. It's entirely up to you, but you can fold it down so the fist isn't sticking straight up behind the robot head if you want. So we'll go ahead and make his fist. So rotate this around to the back. You kind of want the fist on the back because, again, it sticks out in vehicle mode, but you can leave it attached. Fold up his treads, his feet, rotate them out to the sides, and bring this whole assembly down. Plug it in like that. And then the treads peg onto the sides of the arm piece just like this. That folds up. And then you want to twist his shoulders so the ball joint faces out, and that will allow them to collapse in far enough so that the arms come together and then tab on. There's a little slot here on the forearm that tabs onto here, and that lets them form the complete bulldozer. So again, rotate the upper hinge out, fold it down, and snap it into place. And there is Crusher in vehicle mode. Hoister, he's actually got, no, it's not Hoister, it's Scavenger that gets really cool. So you fold his back, he's got this little crane here on the back of his head. You fold these back, again, rotate the hinge up, and then fold that down to peg on there. Same on this side. And then you just plug the legs together, flip them up in half, and then fold the crane down. It's short and purple, but you'll see why in a minute. And there's Hoister in vehicle mode. Scavenger, he's got some cool things going on with those arms here. Again, same thing with the fist on the back of the robot mode as Crusher. So you lift his crane arm up here, fold his head all the way down and around in here. Do the same thing with the fist here. Rotate it up. Bring the tread piece down and around. Peg it together. You can see the fist kind of sits on the back there between the treads. Bring this forward, and this arm you bring down and rotate it so it kind of covers his stomach like that. And then this arm, since it's got the kind of, I don't want to say cockpit, but the worker compartment, you fold it up like that, and it gives him a complete little look. His whole top swivels here, and he's got point of articulation here, here, and here on his scoop arm. So you can get some decent range out of him in vehicle mode. Everybody else is more or less solid aside from wheels in vehicle mode. For scrapper, go ahead and pop that off. That's a tight joint there on the thing. Pop this off, up. And that's designed to pop off. It's just a friction hinge there. So bring that down, push his feet out. See, they slide forward and then rotate up and peg his legs together. And then you extend this piece, which pulls his head down. The arms collapse into the body like this, and they peg in. You rotate his hand and it pegs onto the peg here on the spine. Here, come here. Peg that on, pull the scoop all the way down, and then flip his legs up all the way around here, and there he is in vehicle mode. And again, you get scoop rotates. That's mostly for ankle tilt, but then he's got the little articulated arm there for his vehicle mode. And finally, Mixmaster, whose arms come up. You just flip his arms up and the hinge like that, and you can see there's a tab here that tabs into the side of the mixer. Something right here. Oh, his guns can flip down for robot mode as well. Plug that in. Same over here. And then flip up his feet. Plug his legs together, and then rotate them down at the knee joint here to form the cab of the mixer truck. And again, his barrel spins. And so there they all are in vehicle mode. Again, aside from what I've mentioned, not a whole lot of articulation in them. But you can store everything, with the exception of the guns. Although, it looks like you might be able to put a gun here on Scavenger. And then to transform them into the combined mode, you take, for Mixmaster, you just bring him down, and you actually bring him out of the knees, and then pull these hinges up, and then rotate this whole piece back up at the knee to form his foot like that. And he actually has a joint at his waist that gives him some ankle tilt in combined mode, which is cool. But we'll show that off in a minute. Scrapper, obviously, you just bring his hook up, tab it into place, and then he's pretty much a foot now. And again, because of that hinge, he gets some ankle tilt as well. So stand him up. Now, long haul, he's a little easier to do from robot mode to torso mode, but again, just for consistency in the video. Flip these back, pull this assembly down again, split his legs, bring his torso back up around into robot mode, bring his legs down, bring this down. So make sure this folds up, and again, there's a tab here that tabs up here into the bottom of the cab. You can get it lined up, snap that together like that. Instead of folding this around to the back, you leave this on the front and fold it up over his waist to form the waist plate. Open up the wheels, the legs come out to the side, and use another hinge to come down like this, and then you need to flip these pieces out. And you may need a part to get in there and kind of start prying it up. I don't want to use the guns because I don't want to risk breaking them. I meant to have this ready for this part and forgot, but here. Got a pair of nail clippers in my pocket. So just something helps to get these started. If you can get them to pry out. There we go. So bring these pieces down inside the legs out, and then fold the wheels back into place. It's possible to do this with your fingers, but it hurts and it takes a little while. And there he is in torso mode, and you can go ahead and plug. You want to have some support because this piece, just the pressure needed makes this piece want to fold up a lot. So if you just kind of put your thumb there or something in there to support that, you can see how it moves and it wants to push up into the body. So just do something to support this piece right here to get the plug into Mixmaster here. And once you get it started, it'll go on pretty well. So you just plug Mixmaster in there, and then on Scrapper you kind of split his legs a little bit here and slide this in, and then his legs clamp around that. So there's the lower half done. Oh. And then for Hoister here, fold this up in half, the little crane in half. And you need to lift that back. You need to flip up his combine mode head here. Well, actually, you need to bring the arms out first. The arms come down underneath. That'll let you flip the head up. You need to flip the head up first because these pieces are going to swing into where it was. So you flip the head up, and then these pieces come around to the side. You split the legs, and you can see where those green pieces rotate into where the head sat. And again, there's a tab here that tabs on right here, and same on the other side. These pieces, this piece comes back like this. It's going to peg on to this tab right here on long haul, and this piece you rotate in to kind of fill in that gap, and that peg is going to peg in here to the front of long haul, and then there's a couple tabs up here that are going to tab into this slot back here on hoister. So get those straightened up, and then the crane arm comes down and then splits in half to form his chest plate, which is really cool. Now, to attach him to long haul, I found it's easier if you kind of bring the arms down a little bit. What I usually do is come up here, put my finger behind it, and peg this arm on first. Then lift it up, bring it around, and then get this peg lined up. And again, you can kind of get your finger in there. It doesn't have to be straight at first because you can peg those on, get that pegged onto here. And if you have to move this out of the way to do it, that's fine too. You can still arrange everything. So peg that on. Make sure those two pegs are on tight. Then fold long haul's arms up and line up those tabs into the slot, and then it tabs on very securely. You can see it's not falling off. Let's come up to the top a little bit here, see what he's looking like. And for the arms, you just bring this down, bring the arm down to just kind of fold it up like that, and then you can collapse the treads. Again, they peg on in this position. You may need a tool to flip out this connector peg, because again, you can do it with your fingers, and it might help if you unpeg a tread just to get in here and get that flipped out. Flip that down, go ahead and extend the elbow all the way and rotate it to the front. Rotate his fist forward, and then this connector peg, again, flip it up a little bit so you can get your thumb behind it because it wants to push in, and then there's a couple slots here on the side. You just peg it on right there, and then position the hook however you want. And there's one arm connected, and it's exactly the same over here with Crusher. Flip the fist out, go ahead and peg one of those on. You need to get this out, flip this panel right here out, and again, get your thumb behind it and peg it on right here, and then bring the fist down, rotate it, and there he is in combined mode. I'll show off some articulation before I put the gun in his hand because the gun's a little iffy. But he's got articulated fingers. He's got the individual thumbs. His index finger moves independently of his last three, but they're all one piece. But he's got shoulder articulation. It rotates. The chest plate actually plugs into the front of these as well. So it can rotate here and up and down. I thought maybe it had a little bit of movement this way, but that was just untapping the pegs. So forward and back, side to side. His head's on a ball joint, which is nice. Again, no waist swivel because of how long haul's waist is built. He's got some like a bicep swivel here, and he's got an elbow joint here, which kind of gets blocked by the treads. There is a joint here, if you don't mind a gap in arm mode. Oh, he fell off because you can rotate this around and rotate this forward at the lower joint, but then you're going to have a gap here because that joint's for the transformation. So you can live with a gap, but it is doable if you want to give it a little bit more forward motion to his arms, because as it is, they stop about right there, and then you have to use the shoulder joint to move it forward. He's got front to back hips, side to side hips. He's got a thigh swivel there where they connect, and then, like I said, he does have the ankle tilt in the feet, so you can get him in some wider stances if you want, which is cool. They didn't have to incorporate that, and he still would have been pretty nifty. But they did, so he does. Now the gun, it's got a tab here that pegs into his hand. And if you do it, you want to have his hand fully open, peg the gun in, and you can get the thumb around it. You can pick it up a little higher. But the way the fingers are and the thickness of the gun, if you try to move these lower fingers in, I guess if you peg it up higher, you can hold it, but then it looks a little silly in his hand. But if you peg it down in the lower peg, like this, you can get his thumb around it. You can kind of move his index finger around it as well. But as you move, you can kind of see where these finger pegs go right up against the post here. So if you start to move his lower fingers, it pushes them, it kind of comes out and is just enough to push the gun out of the peg hand. So he looks a little awkward. He kind of has to have an open hand stance to keep the gun in his arm. Or gun in his hand when you're messing with him. But he can't hold it. And he holds it fairly securely as long as you don't start squeezing those lower fingers around it. There he is from the back. And like I said, he's got a pretty decent view from the back, too. He's not super partsy, kibbly, or whatever you want to call it. And again, real quick with the smaller figures from DX9. I'm about to get bumped in. Here he is with all the other DX9 figures, and he looks pretty cool with them. And then, of course, if you throw in the Iron Factory guys, whoop, no. There's a good shot of him with all the other good mini bots that are out on the market right now. So yeah, it's $150, I think, for the set, which is in line with the prices they've been charging for these 2-packs. It's basically the cost of 3 2-packs. That's also about the price as the big Combiner Wars Devastator, which I almost brought in, who he comes up to about like the knee of. So it's up to you if you want to spend that money. He's a very well constructed, very cool Devastator. I like his all-in-one transformation, and like I said, price-wise, he's the equivalent. If you bought 3 of these 2-packs, you're getting 6 figures, and the engineering is about to the same level, standard of that. So from this price point of this company's previous products, I think it's appropriately priced. I would have liked to have seen it maybe be a little cheaper, just because for the same price you can get the giant Combiner Wars one, which is not quite as which takes up a lot of room and is more impressive. But like I said, the engineering here is really good. I'm very happy with it. It's very cool. It's just kind of, and even though, like I said, even though it fits within the pricing scheme of DX9's other figures, dropping that much money at once for a figure that's about 6 inches tall, like here he is with standard deluxe or Megatron. He is a little small, I feel, for the price when you look at him, and when you look at the size of the guy versus what you paid for it. That said, like I said, I do think it's a very well-engineered toy and a very fun toy. It's just, like I said, I think the price is a little high for this. I would have liked, being all packed together like this, I would have liked to have seen it maybe a little less than the price of 3 2-packs. Like if it had come in around 110, 120, I think that would make it a little bit more palatable, because it makes it feel like you're saving some money versus what you buy individually. So, yeah, but like I said, it's a good solid toy and some really neat idea. There it is, DX9's HULKIE.